Okay, we are back on our data analysis training. This is a continuation of the video we did the previous time. The last time we talked about Excel in data analysis, and today we'll be talking about Power BI in data analysis, the fundamentals, the things you need to get started in data analysis. The basic things we'll be doing, I'll be demonstrating everything in this video. Okay, my name is Yakub Adam Ibrahim, popularly known as Otelu. Join me as move along in this course. Okay, back to our lecture series, data analysis training. To start with, I'll be starting it. We did Excel in our last video, but what is Power BI and why do we need it? Why do we need Power BI and what is Power BI itself? Okay, to start with, the BI at the end of Power BI stands for business intelligence. And Power BI is actually a leading business tool specifically used in creating visualization such as charts, line charts, and the likes like that. So the difference between Power BI and Excel is that Excel is extensively used in analyzing data, while Power BI is used for creating reports, creating charts, a lot of them like that. So don't misquote me. Excel could create charts and reports, but not as very standard as Power BI own. So that's the difference between Power BI and Excel. So that's why we are moving to Power BI in this training. So Excel is mostly used for extensive analysis, while Power BI is extensively used for reports, charts, and so on like that. So that's basically what Power BI and why we use Power BI in data analysis. So yeah, and Power BI has three features. One, the Power BI desktop. Two, the Power BI service, and the Power BI mobile. Okay, the Power BI desktop is actually extensively used for creating of our model and the reports we came for. So Power BI desktop is actually used for creating of these reports and the likes like that. So Power BI service is meant for collaboration. Let's say you are a group of data analysts, you are working in teams. So it's Power BI service is more like a Facebook application whereby you can communicate your results to other analysts. You are working in teams together, so you can use leverage on Power BI service to collaborate with other analysts or you are working together in a particular report. So that's basically the essence of Power BI service. Then Power BI mobile is a way of viewing these reports on our mobile, on our phone. So it's actually an application that you can always download on the Google Play Store or the App Store. Is available there, Power BI mobile. So it's actually meant for these stakeholders to always view whatever this analyst has created or whatever changes. Actually help them to see whatever changes that has been made in their data. So that's the basic essence of these three things. Power BI desktop, as I said, is actually used for creating these reports and other visualization you want to do. Then Power BI service is meant for collaboration. Then Power BI mobile is actually meant for seeing those changes or viewing those reports on our mobile. So it's okay, I've explained them in this presentation which I'll be sharing with you. Power BI is used in creating reports and analysis of your data. Then Power BI service is a software as service, SaaS. It is used to publish and collaborate these reports with teams online. Power BI online cloud service also prevents image files. Yeah, a feature not available in MS Excel and could always automate your refresh always automate your refresh. That is, it updates your data in the mail instead of constantly resending it. Okay, yes, this is one of the very cool features of Power BI service. When you share a report to someone via email, you can always automate it. You can always such that every new changes that comes in that data would quickly update in that report you have shared to someone in the email. So you don't have to always resend it, which will lead to image files or having multiple multiple reports, multiple message for a particular report just because there is any changes in that report. So this is one of the features of Power BI service. It can help you just, instead of having multiple message from a particular report, it could combine everything and these changes keep reflecting like that. So we also have the Power BI mobile. This is specifically used in viewing those reports and dashboard on our mobile. So this, everything is in this presentation which I'll be sharing with you. So we have, what's the difference between MS Excel and Power BI? So MS Excel is actually a popular spreadsheet tool. So that doesn't mean that MS Excel is actually a spreadsheet, is the only spreadsheet tool. We have the Google spreadsheet tool as well, but MS Excel is the most popular spreadsheet tool, while Power BI is a business intelligence tool. So MS Excel is specifically used for analyzing data, while Power BI is built for creating visualizations and charts. MS Excel stores data in a tabular form, which allows you to manipulate this data, while Power BI stores data in tables that can be linked together to create models. That's one of the advantage of Power BI. So MS Excel graphs are not interactive unless slicer or timeline is added to it, while Power BI charts and graphs are interactive and as always. So this is one of the cool features of Power BI. Power BI charts is actually interactive. Whenever we click, what do we mean by interactiveness? Interactiveness is there is static chart and an interactive chart. When a chart is static, that means I cannot see beyond the information presented in that chart. While interactive chart is a type of chart that I can see some other information more than what is being presented to me. I can click on it and see more details from that chart. So that's what we mean by interactive chart. So I'll be displaying everything to you as we move along in this course. So MS Excel is a spreadsheet application, could do anything data analysis related, including interactive dashboard. And while Power BI is a platform for creating interactive dashboard and easily share them with your teams. So in a nutshell, MS Excel is actually a powerful tool specifically for extensive data analysis, but Power BI is superior in terms of data visualization, data discovery and dashboard. So that's the summary of everything. So Power BI is actually superior when it comes to building of dashboard and data visualizations and data discovery. So let's move to our next slide. So what are the building blocks? What are the major building blocks of Power BI? The basic three things we do in Power BI is nothing more than we have the data sets, we have the reports and the dashboard. These are the basic things we'll be revolving around in Power BI: the data sets, the reports and the dashboard. So what is a data set? A data set is a collection of data you imported or connected to. Power BI allows you to connect to and import all sorts of data sets and brings all of it together in a particular place. So this is basically what we refer as a data set. A data set is similar to what you've seen in Excel, having your data in each rows and column. That's what we refer as a data set. So it's a combination of all your data together which you have imported to your Power BI. That's what we refer as a data set. So what is a report? A report is one or more pages of visualizations, such as line charts, maps, tree maps, etc. So visualization is also called visuals. So a report is when you have one or more pages of visualization. When I'm talking about visualization, I'm talking about charts. I'm talking about every chart available in Power BI or in data analysis. That's what I mean by visualization. So when you have one or more pages of visualization, that is what we refer as what? Reports. Okay, so what is a dashboard? A dashboard is actually a summary of all. A dashboard is a summary of one or multiple reports or a single from different data sets. So a dashboard is actually a summary of everything, a summary of our reports. So it's actually it's display when you have the difference between a report and a dashboard is a report is based on a particular data set, different charts on a particular data set. Why dashboard is a combination of these reports together. So, and we all believe that, we all know that since I have a report on a particular data set, a dashboard will be having reports from different data sets. So that's when you are bringing reports from different angles, different data sets, that forms a dashboard. So that's what we refer as a dashboard. There are other more difference between a dashboard and a report, but this, let's stop here for now. Okay. Oh, it was not there. So, what are the components of Power BI? One of the basic two things we do in Power BI, as I've said again, as part of the building blocks, and one of the things you'll be needing again in Power BI is the Power Query and DAX. So, what is actually the Power Query and what is DAX? I think everything is presented in this slide as well. So, okay, it's differentiated in this place. Oh, this is Power Query and Power Pivot. Okay, Power Query is actually seen as the kitchen of Power BI. So I actually call it kitchen of Power BI, and the question is, what do we do in the kitchen? Kitchen is a place where we cook our food. So in this place, the kitchen here is the place where we transform our data, where we make our data more nicer and presentable for our machine to be able to understand what we have in each columns and rows. I'll be demonstrating how to make use of the Power Query in this video, and how to make use of a DAX. So in short, Power Query is just a place, it's another window which is part of Power BI to use to transform our data to our desired format. Many of the data we get for analysis, I think I can explain that in the MS Excel video. We usually get the unclean data. Many of our data is not usually compatible with our machine. So there is a need for us to always transform this data, and the place we do it is what we refer as the Power Query. So the other thing here we have is the DAX, and DAX stands for Data Analysis Expression. And data analysis expression is actually a library of our functions. Data analysis expression is a library of functions where we have multiple functions, where we have different functions we can use in calculations like that, and some of them which we saw in the Excel training. So that is what we refer as DAX. So DAX, which is referred as data analysis expression, is a group of functions that we can use to do some calculations in Power BI. So the other thing, there is something again. Well, the difference between Power Query and Power Pivot Table. Power Query can be otherwise known, as I've said, otherwise known as the kitchen of Power BI, where you do the cooking and the cleaning of your data. So then what is Power Pivot Table? Power Pivot Table is used to create reports from data that is in form of tables. It allows you to quickly summarize and analyze this data in your spreadsheets. We actually saw something similar when I was visualizing charts in Excel in the last Excel video, where I plotted some charts. So I made use of Power Pivot Tables. So go check the Excel video. So then the other difference between Power Query and Power Pivot Table is Power Query allows us to automate cleaning and transformation of our data, while Power Pivot helps us in analyzing data, works with data across multiple tables, and handle millions of rows of data. So basically, it just looks similar, but there's a difference between Power Query and Power Pivot. So basically, Power Pivot allows you to summarize your data. I use something like that in Excel to allow you to summarize your data, particularly when you want to create a visualization for that data. That is when we use Power Pivot. Then Power Query is a place where you transform your data. So it's actually just kind of having the same name. The name actually just moving the same way, but there are difference between Power Query and Power Pivot tables. Please, the difference should be noted. Okay, I think I've explained this. What is a DAX measure? Okay, I said DAX stands for Data Analysis Expression. It is a library of functions and operations that allow you to create formulas and expression. So, and DAX seem complex, but you must understand two concepts for you to understand DAX. which is one measure and a calculated columns. Okay, we'll be saying, okay, what is the measure and what is the calculated column? Okay, what's the difference between a measure and a calculated column? Okay, one, this measure, this is when DAX formulas used to create new calculated values such as sum, average, and count. While calculated columns, this is a column where new data are added using DAX formulas to define values. Okay, what are the things you need to note about a measure? Things you should know about the measure is that the result changes based or depending on the context. That's one of the advantage of a measure, and is used in reporting, supports combining and filtering. Common measures are average, sum, count, and calculate. So one of the important measure you need to take note of is the calculate measure. So, and that doesn't take much file size when used. Okay, one of the very big difference of a measures and a calculated column is that when you apply a measure, it really did not make your file size bigger. It's in fact it take minimal space, just a very small space of your file. Unlike calculated column, when you apply calculated columns to your file or to your data you are working on, it tends to increase the size, the file size, and which is not very good for you because it tends to slow your machine, and that's one of the disadvantage of Power BI. When Power BI has too many columns, it tends to slow, and having another calculated columns still make it more slower. So you try in every possible ways to always stick to a measure instead of what a calculated columns. So, and everything is presented in this slide, the difference between a measure and a calculated column. So basically, measure is usually advisable to use in Power BI instead of what calculated columns. So under measure, we have two types of measure, which is the explicit and the implicit measure. So starting with the explicit measure first. So explicit measure requires basic understanding of that measure, while implicit measure really do not require basic understanding of the DAX measure. So these are the measure you apply that you are not really aware of that you are using. We are going to see a lot of demonstration of that when we move into the Power BI practical. So advantage of using an explicit measure is that it is reusable, it is flexible and controllable during application. So the disadvantage of using an implicit measure is that it is not reusable and it is not very flexible as an explicit measure. So that is one of the differences you need to know about explicit and implicit measure. Yeah, we also have something again which is referred as a data table and otherwise known as the fact table in under our modeling. So I'll quickly brief about it. Data table and lookup table. Data table can sometimes be referred as a fact table. So what is a fact table or what is the data table? Data table usually contain numerical values, while lookup table contains information about the numerical values or the data table or a fact table. So data table is actually where we have our information contained, while lookup table tell us more information about our data table. Certainly, if I try to put, if I'm a business owner and I'm selling maybe biscuits to each of my customers, I'm selling biscuits in my shop, and everybody attends to me, I sell biscuits to them, and definitely if I sell biscuits, I will definitely sell it to someone. I will definitely sell it at a particular time. I will definitely sell it at I'm definitely selling something, which is the biscuits. So I'm definitely selling it at a particular place. So those are the information lookup table contains. So more information of what that thing was sold, who that person was sold to, who that person, where, how the person bought it. Was it online? Was it physical? What time? Who? So those are the information lookup table contains. Why data table is actually the record of the transaction of the business, of that thing that took place. Why the lookup table is telling us more information of that thing that took place, which is the data table or the fact table. So I hope the difference is clear. Okay. 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 Let's dive into the practical side of Power BI trading. Okay, to start with, I just launched my Power BI desktop. I'm in the Power BI desktop, so I'll be briefly explaining the interface of the Power BI and show you how to bring in data and clean your data in the Power Query, do some reports, charts, and the likes like that. Okay, I'll be moving straight to the point in this presentation. So first thing I'll be doing is let me close this window. When you open Power BI desktop, automatically you'll be having this window. Then you can choose to close it, or you go straight to your points, get data, recent sources. Then these are some of the data I have opened maybe today, like that. So, and I can see I can show recovered files. So let me close this to briefly explain the interface of Power BI to you. Okay, let me close this as well. So this is actually the file. My Power BI is loading. Okay, this is actually the file where you can find different things there. The save as, get data. You can bring in data from this, get data, import data. You can export your data, maybe you are done with it. Then you can see a lot of data, maybe you've pinned some reports in this place. You will see everything there. So we have the home, the get data into the Power BI. Get data, we have, if let's say your data you want to bring in is an Excel workbook, you can quickly get in here. You have the data hub, you have the SQL server. These are places you can quickly get your data from depending on where you have that data. So you have enter data, maybe you want to manually type in data vars, the recent sources, some places I have visited. So transform data, this will take me to a Power Query. This is maybe to refresh that data I have, a new visualization, text box, a lot of them like that. I can move to insert new page, new visualizations, the key influencers. A lot of these are visualizations you can make use of. We also have the modeling ribbon. You have the view. A lot of them, I will be demonstrating few of them in this presentation as much as I'm trying this presentation to be very short and for you to get the information I'm going to be passing in this presentation. So to start with, I'll be bringing in an Excel data, which is budget, because I know this data is an Excel file. I can quickly click on this Excel something I'm seeing here to get the data in. I can click on this, I can move to this place to click on Excel workbook, or come to this get data to choose Excel. So whichever way is convenient to you. So there are different ways to bring in your data into Power BI, and there are different options you can choose from. So this is one of the advantage of Power BI. Power BI can connect to different data sources from different places. So as a data analyst as well, you need to know how to connect data from different data sources. So when I click on get data, it's going to be showing me different options where I can get my data from. So but basically my data is actually an Excel file, which I can quickly just click on this. Let me allow my window load so I can see what that thing will give to me now. Okay, so after clicking on get data, I saw this. So these are different places where I can connect data from, and I can use for my analysis, different places like that. If it's from a folder, from an SQL server, from Azure, this is from online service, from others which are not listed there, like that. So just get data, then use maybe the all. You can use all. Oh, so I click on all, then I'll be having Excel workbook, because the data I want to bring in is an Excel workbook. Then connect. This will be taking me to wherever it found, and it take me to open my file manager, maybe to the desktop, to the whatever files I have will be showing, whatever Excel files I have will be displaying in this place now because I click on Excel. So the data I actually want to use, I think is here. Okay, the data I actually want to use is, okay, this is it. At the desktop, this is it, budgets. I click on it, budgets. So this is data I actually want to work on. Let's see how we can use this data in Power BI. So my Power BI is actually connected to that data. So one of the advantage of Power BI again, Power BI actually connects to the data source. It's actually connect to wherever that data is being loaded in. So if my data is being stored on a refreshable storage, whatever changes that occur or whatever new data that is added to that that budget, for instance, whatever data that is being added, whatever report again I have created on that data, it will quickly reflect by just all I just do just to refresh it, and I'll be seeing the new changes of that data in my report. So I don't have to always create new reports because new data has entered that data I have worked on. So this is the advantage of Power BI again. So it's connected to the data source such that whichever changes that occur to that data at all, Power BI will quickly reflect it. All I just need to just refresh it, then the new data will be added, and I don't need to redo all those things I've done. So all I do is just to click on the budget, here on this budget, then I'll be seeing a preview of it. So looking at this preview again, I'm seeing some things, some unwanted things I really do not want as part of my data. This is what I have in this data. Some unwanted things I don't want in this data is part of it. So I need to take it away. And for me to take it away, as I've said, this will take us to what? Power Query. I said Power Query is actually the kitchen of Power BI, where we do our cooking of our data, where we transform our data to our desired format, how we want our data. So because I have some unwanted things, such as one, this null is not very good for my data. It's not very good in Power BI to have it. So it's actually this null is not needed as part of my data, null, because that place is actually an empty columns. That's why I'm having null. And again, this data again has an header. Like this adventure work budget data is actually an header for this data below, and it's actually an Excel file. So it has an header in Excel, which is not very necessarily needed in Power BI. So all those things I really want to take them away, like prepared by Johnny Bunko and something, Adventure Confidential. There are some description of for that data which I really do not need for this data, so I have to take them away. That's why I'll be taking it to what? Power Query. So for me to go to Power Query, all I just need is to click on transform data. If I click on load, then it will take me to Power BI straight away. So because I have some unwanted things I want to take away from this from this data which I'm seeing in this place, then I have to click on transform data to do the cleaning of that data. So let's wait for my Power BI to load. Oh, Power Query is loading. Okay, my data has loaded to Power BI Query. You can see this is a new window, different from Power BI. This is where we were before. This was the previous window we were before, and this is the new window, which is, so this is the Power BI, and this is Power Query, Power BI and Power Query. So this is a new window of Power. This is a new window of Power BI. So, and I've said Power Query is the place where we transform our data. So I want to transform and take away this null, all this description is not needed for this analysis I want to do. So all those things I don't want to put my data, I want to take it away in Power Query. That is why I am in Power Query. So the first thing I really want to take away in this data is this first two rows, these descriptions. I really do not want them. Prepared by, I don't need that information. Adventure confidential, I don't need that information. These spaces where I have, they are actually empty spaces having none. So I need to take them away. All I just do is on my home ribbon, I'll be seeing remove rows. Click on remove top rows, remove top rows. Then it will ask me how many top rows do I want to remove. Then I'll be passing 2 because I'm having 1, 2. Then it's okay. Then the 2 top rows will be taken away. Then I think the next thing in the other rule is actually my header, which was supposed to be the column names. So what I'll be doing is, so I don't want it to have, I want to take away those column names, column 2, column 3. Power BI actually renamed it for me, which I don't want. This is actually the column names in the next row. So to do that, I'll just click on use first row as headers. So then the first row will be passed as header. Good. So and I'm still having some null again, which is which I'm saying here null. And if you notice this null again, it's actually all this null left is actually in front of wherever you have totals, wherever you have subtotals, accessories, subtotal bikes, subtotal clothing, and the grand total. So 2 things is actually wrong with that rows where you have null and total. 1, I'm having null. I really do not want any null in my data. It's actually going to affect my analysis. I don't want empty spaces. This null, I want to take those places that have nulls away, and even those places that do not have null, that is in this subtotal rows. If you notice, this subtotal is actually a total of these accessories. Look at these accessories. I say this accessory. This is the sum of all accessories. That's what I'm saying here. The rest of them which are not null are having totals. The place which are not null, look at this null is actually in front of where you have this the totals, like the subtotal bytes and so like that. That's what I mean by the totals. So the place after the place, even the place with not null are having totals. So this is one of the things you need to note about Power BI. When you want to plot, because the goal of we coming to Power BI is to make visualization and to plot our data. And I don't know if you had practiced what the plots we did in Excel. You will notice the plots we did. We actually imported raw data and we plotted it on. I think I used a bar chart and and a pie chart in the Excel video. And if you notice those charts I did there, it's actually summarized or sum up values for a particular thing. It's actually some. So one thing about creating a visualization is that if you try to plot anything on a visualization, it's going to do it on a particular arithmetic. Maybe summing that maybe if you try to plot a category by income, it's going to plot a particular category by summing up the income of that category for it. So basically, while you are plotting or having a visualization, it's going to do it on a on an arithmetic by summing something up or doing average of it. It's going to do it on a particular arithmetic. Like in short, it's just when you are plotting, while you are plotting, you get a summary of all these things, this subtotal accessory of what it is given to you. So in a nutshell, you don't need to provide Power BI anything that has been summarized. Since I am coming to Power BI to summarize the same data or sum it up that same data, I don't need to give Power BI whatever data that has been summed together, or that has been summarized. So any data that is kind of summarized, I need to take it away, because other data presented in this data are not summarized. So this one has been summarized, and there's no need for me to give Power BI any rule of data that has been summarized, since the rest of them has not been summarized. So, and I'm going to Power BI to summarize the same data. So when I'm talking about summarizing, maybe this data has been summed up to this particular value. That's what I mean by summarized. Okay, so I have to take every places that has totals, the subtotal accessory, the subtotal bikes. In fact, all of them is even having null in front of it. So some other couple reasons why I have to take that rules away totally. And to take that rule away, all you just need to do to take those rule with total away, I have to click on this drop down. I'll be saying these things, and what I'm seeing here are all the unique data presented in that row. So I'll be unchecking everywhere that I can see total, because I really do not want that thing as part of my data. So I'm leaving just accessories, bikes, and clothing, and I hit OK. Okay, that's fine. I've taken away every total, and I still have one more total again, because this same data again was actually being summed up again with rows. So I'm having another grand total here, which I have to take this column again. That's all. To get to that data, you just have to scroll this down to the end of this place. Then you'll be seeing grand total there. Click on it, right click, then remove. So I've removed that row, so I'm actually transforming my data. So one basic thing you need to also note about Power BI is that, or in Power Query, is that whatever you are doing, whatever step you have took so far, are always been listed in this apply step. Look at it from what we've done so far. You would be having some like three or four steps that will be added by default. Like the source navigator, it actually comes by default. So look at where we started transforming our data. We removed the top rows, we promoted the headers, the first row, we promoted it as header, then we changed the type. We actually fit out the role by removing the totals. Remove the totals, we remove everything that has to do with data, and also remove columns. That's the last thing we did. So you can always in fact click on it to see, click on the previous thing. If I click on this filter route, I'll be having this grand total back. I'll be having the grand total. Let me scroll down. Can you see? I'm seeing the grand total because I'm clicking on this. If I click on promote headers, I'll be reversing back to that where I promoted the headers. I'll be reversing back. If I click on remove top rows, I'll be reversing back to the place where I haven't removed the top rows. So to move ahead, you just click on the last thing you did. So and everything will be right back. So one more thing again, transformation again, I still want to do to my to this data is that if you notice this data again, you will notice that this month 2016, February 2016, they are actually spread out in different columns. Look at, I'm having month values in different columns, different columns, which is not very too good from Power BI due to the way I plot my data in Power BI. It's because if I'm to plot a chart in Power BI, I need to click on a particular column based on a particular column. So it's actually not very too good having this column spread out of related information, group of related information spread out. It's not very too good of presenting this kind of data to Power BI. So what I can do to Power here is I have to unpivot those data. Unpivot, I have to click on this, the very first related data. Look at January 2016 to the last related ones. Which is December 2016. They are actually related data, just with different month and different year, I think. So so after selecting it, this is how I selected it. I click on the first one, again, holding shift down, scroll down to the very first data, the very first related one. After click on it, then right click. After right click, you will see this option on pivot columns. Then Power BI is going to collapse everything to a particular rows and created a column which is referred as value. So now this list is now going to be longer than before. So it's actually compressed everything in a column. As I've said, having many columns is not too good for your Power BI because it slows down your Power BI. So I have compressed this thing now, which is now named as attribute, which I can also rename. So I'll be having here as months, let me know that I have all my months in a particular columns. Then this place which is value, I can choose to give it another name. Power BI automatically added value for me. Then I can say, okay, let's use sales amount for instance. Sales amount. Sales amount. Then I use enter. You notice at this apply step, the changes are being recorded. So those are one of the things you need to note about. I think I'm done transforming this data. So all I will do now is, after transforming data the way I want it, so as I've achieved my goal in Power Query, then I'll just use close and apply. Then this take me back to what Power BI. Then I can work with this data straight away after transforming it. Let's wait. My Power BI is actually loading. Okay, my data is actually loading to Power BI. Let's wait a little bit for my data to load. Okay, my data has loaded. So then with this, since I have a data from a particular table, I can just move ahead in creating visualizations from this report, from this data I have. So how to create a report from with data you have in Power BI? You just need to, okay, you can just choose the particular charts. This is where you will see different type of charts you can use to plot in Power BI. So whatever data you have imported to Power BI, you'll be seeing everything in this. You'll be seeing everything here at this field pane. Your data, which you have imported, you'll be seeing everything. If it is collapsed, you can always expand it. If it is collapsed, you can always expand it. If your visualizations are so collapsed, you can always expand it there. You can always expand it there. Okay, so I have clicked on a line chart, and a line chart is mostly used, is extensively used for a time series data. What do we refer as a time series data? When you're showing something over time. So that's when you use a line chart, maybe monthly, yearly, and so on like that. So I've selected a line chart. So this is it here. So I can just click on month, click on just check month. It's going to, Power BI is going to automatically help you add month to the right place it feels in this build visual place. Okay. So I click on month, and it's actually coming to this x-axis. It's coming to this x-axis. Then since I cannot plot just month alone, I have to plot month based on a particular thing, maybe by the sales amount. So I click on sales amount again. Power BI helped me to add it in the y-axis. Then I'll be having a good plot in this place. So I'll be seeing what we refer as a line chart. So line chart is basically used to demonstrate time series data. So that's the advantage of a line chart, or where you can use a line chart. That is where line chart is mostly used. So my chart is actually loading. So it's actually going to be plotting sales amount by month. So I'm actually seeing a line chart of my sales amount, by month. So, and basically Power BI is actually plotting it based on the highest sales amount it's found. As I've said, which I quickly explained in Power Query, Power BI will plotting every of the months or the time, the date it's found based on a particular value, based on a particular arithmetic. If it comes here, click on this drop down, you see the particular that sales amount. You can see some was actually checked. That means all for a particular month, like December 2016, all the sales amount for December 2016 was actually summed. That's what we are seeing here, sum. So as I've said, that's how we took up the total rows in Power Query. So we know that when we try to plot it, in our charts, Power BI would either perform in either of these arithmetics, and then in the Power Query it was actually summed up together. Some total bytes were summed up together. So since we know that our plot will always still going to sum it up for us again, we don't need to always provide Power BI with data that has been summed again, since the rest of our data is not summed. So this is where to see what arithmetic has been applied to your chart, and this arithmetic that has been applied to this chart is what we refer as an implicit function. So you can see I actually just clicked on sales amount, and I am seeing this sales amount being summed. So that's what we refer as implicit measure. So these are the measures that do not require basic understanding of DAX measure, while explicit measure requires basic understanding of a DAX measure. So that's what we refer as implicit and explicit measure. So explicit measure, I'll be demonstrating explicit measure in a moment now. So to rearrange this, this Power BI is actually sorting this chart from the highest to lowest. So to resort it, click on these three dots, then click on sort as is, maybe by month. Then it's going to be sorting by month in a descending order. And sometimes that is not also the best way we want to also sort our data, because it's not going to be sorting it by, let's say, January, February, March. It's going to be sorted alphabetically order. There are still other ways we can also still correct it and show our data over months like January, February, but currently this one is still showing us descending order. That's from September, October, November. That's alphabetically order, starting with April, August, and so like that. And sometimes that's not how we want to show our line chart, but basically this is where we'll be stopping this line chart. Okay, so let's do some other visualization you might want to do with this data, and I showed you how to apply an explicit measure. Let's say a pie chart. A pie chart is extensively used for a categorical data. When you have aggregates of that data, that data has been aggregated, just like you want to show individual proportion of a particular thing, of the sales amount or of the income. You want to show different proportion, okay, which is also similar to the tree map. So let's quickly use the pie chart. Clicking on, I'll have to click on category, because I have a category here by the sales amount, and you can see each of whatever I'm clicking is actually moving to one of these places. Power BI automatically fix that for me. There are times that Power BI would not fix it right. You have to always rechange it. So, and it's only practice that can make you improve better. Okay, so I'm having another pie chart of the three categories I have: the bikes, the accessories, and the clothing. Their proportion. No, everyone that sees this understand that bikes is actually contributing more to my sales amount. Therefore, I am to work more on my bikes, because it's actually giving me more income. While clothing is actually giving me lesser sales amount. Then if I'm to improve something on as part of my category, then I'll be working on my clothing. So that is basically how to create some report, and a lot of charts you can make use there. You have the stack bar chart, you have the stack column bar chart, the cluster bar chart, the cluster. There are difference between stack and cluster bar chart. So stack bar chart is it's where you see the usefulness is where you try to plot a subcategory in a category, but which is not part of what I'll be displaying in this place, as I still have other things I still have to show you. As I've said, this is actually a summary of our physical training we held. So for those of us that missed that training, that is why we're actually doing this video. So it's actually a summary, a recap of whatever we did, and this little time we have is not enough for us for me to take you everything in Power BI. Okay, so let me quickly show you how to write an explicit measure. So as I've said, there's a difference between a stack bar chart and a cluster bar chart. There's a line chart, there's an area chart, there's a stack area chart, there is a stack and line cluster bar chart, there is a ribbon bar chart. So the basic thing, one of the characteristics of a good data analyst is knowing when to use different charts, because you don't just pick charts anyhow. You need to go and learn how to use those charts, when to use them. I've briefly told you how to use a line chart and a pie chart. A pie chart would best use for aggregated data, while a line chart is good for a time series data. So let me quickly show you how to use an explicit measure with a sum function. So what we refer as a measure, I'll click on. So I'm in my home ribbon. I'm seeing this thing, the new measure. Click on it, new measure. Click on new measure. Then it should give me something similar to formula bar in Excel. This would allow me to type the calculations I want to add to my data. So I want to sum up all these sales amounts. I want to sum up every sales amount. So to do that, I'll click on new measure. So I take away the name. I use backspace to take away whatever name that's measure 1 in which that occur in that thing. So I changed it. Use backspace. I use sum. I type my own name, sum of sales. So whatever I'm typing here is actually the name of my measure. So sum of sales. Then to type an explicit measure, after typing the name, use an equality sign. Then use the function name. The function name, which is sum of sales. Sum. Just type sum. Then you'll be seeing options. You can just click on sum. Click on sum to automatically give you a parenthesis. Then the argument is column name. Then you give it the particular column name you want to sum up. So here, what I want to sum up is my sales amount. Sales amount. Just type sales. Then you'll be having budget sales amount, which is telling us that this sales amount is from the budget table. Close my parenthesis. Then use enter. So I'm actually writing an explicit measure by summing up this sales amount column. I'll quickly show you the sales amount column in the data ribbon. It's actually working. So then I'll be seeing my measure added to this data here, added to this table here. Then I can click outside there. Just all you just do now to visualize. Now I have applied this measure. I am not seeing anything. How do I see whatever I have applied to that thing? Let me quickly show you the column I summed up. Look at this data. Click on this data. We have 3 icons here. We have the report, we have the data, we have the model. So the report is the place where you build this chart. Why this data is where you can quickly see the data you have in the field pane. The data you have in Power BI. So you can see this data I have I click on data and I'm seeing everything. So category like that, the month, data I have transformed, and the sales amount. So the measure I applied, I actually use it to sum up the sales amount, this sales amount column, everything there. I sum up everything. So that's the measure I have applied there. Then the other place is the data, the model view, the model view. So this model is simply because I'm dealing with just a particular data, just one table of data. That is where I am not going to be using this modeling. So this modeling is a place where you can link up different tables, different data. Let's say for example now, I'm presented with a budget data to be analyzed, and I have another data again related to this. And this business wants to see different information from these 2 tables, 2 different data I have presented with. So the way I can tell Power BI is that I am trying to do a show off or a comparison of between these different tables. Is coming to this modeling view and linking it up. So whatever data you have imported to Power BI, you'll be seeing this thing, which is referred as a table. This thing, which is referred as a table, representing that particular data. If I have imported many data to this place, I'll be having more than one table here. This is what we refer as the table. So I'll be having more than one table simply because I have more than one table imported. So or more than one file or data imported to my Power BI, simply because I imported just the budget file. That's why I'm having this budget table alone. So, and I've said this modeling is the place where you can link up different tables, different data you have imported to Power BI, and you can, by linking it up together, you can go ahead to create a visualization and plot it in Power BI, and it's going to work fine. Just like I have budget as a particular table, and I have the sales amount again in a particular table. So my budget was my target, while my sales amount was that sales amount I have made. So to tell Power BI that, and there is a relationship between this budget and this sales amount, I can just tell Power BI, I can just quickly link up these tables together in modeling. So that's basically what we do at the modeling. So I actually wrote a measure. I actually showed you this data to see the particular column I summed up in the explicit measure which I have wrote, which is the sum of sales. So I actually wrote that measure and did not display it. I did not even say the answer of the measure I have wrote. So in a way of displaying that measure, all I just need to do is click on this sum of sales, the measure I have written. Click on the sum of sales. It's going to automatically pick a bar chart for me, but it's naturally not going to display my information very well enough. So because I'm having a single value, because by summing up that thing I will be generating a single value, and Power BI automatically pick a bar chart for me, which I really do not want. So we also have another visualization here, which is referred as the card, represented in 1, 2, 3. Just click on it, then that bar chart will be converted to a card. So these are the basic way to create visualization. So I got 17M. So the total of all sales amounts in that particular column is actually 17 million. So these are ways of how to create visualization. These are just a summary of what we did in the last class. And I think let me see if I can still show you some other thing, or I'll stop in here in this video. Okay, so this is actually 17 million. Okay, so this is basically what I'll be showing you in this budget data I've imported. So the very last thing I'll be doing now will be very short. So just to demonstrate how to use this modeling, that's what I'll be doing, and plotting different data from different tables. So that is what I'll be demonstrating to you now. So I've done some basic things in this budget data. So the rest, you can also go and try how to plot other visualization on your own. So I'll be bringing in another data, so to demonstrate how this modeling, the modeling view works. So my data is in the desktop adventure data workspace, then it's on it. Okay, my Power BI is actually connecting to that data again. So it has loaded. So, and I'm having this navigator page, just like the one I saw before while importing the budget data. So I'll be checking on all those places. I have this blue icon for that data. That is what it refers as the table in that data. That means that sheet. This data I'm actually importing is actually an Excel workbook with a combination of these worksheets, this calendar, customer, product, sales, and so on. So I'll be checking that out. I'll be checking them. The place where I have colored tables, these colored tables, is actually a duplicate of it I'm having below, but I need just the colored side. Those are the good data part of this data here. So then, because I've seen a preview of this data, and I can see that this data is actually good to go, and is good to go. There's nothing I really want to take away from this data. Then I'll be clicking on load instead of transform data, which I click for the budget. Okay, my data is actually loading. I'll be very fast and short in this one. All I just need is to create a relationship in the modeling and to plot it. Then we'll end it here till next week. Okay, my data has loaded. So the very first thing I will have to do, because as I've said, I have data in different sheets. as I've said, I said, let's say you have budget and another sales amount somewhere, you need to create a relationship between them and tell Power BI that this data are related and I want to have the plots. I want to have a plot on them, maybe for comparison or to see some certain information. So I have to go to my modeling after this data has loaded. Okay, my data has loaded, so I'll be moving straight to the points here. So what I'll be doing is, after this data has loaded, I can see every data in my Power BI. The data I just loaded, the calendar, the customer, the product, the sales, I am seeing everything here. So I'll be going to my modeling view to create a relationship between them. Power BI usually automatically create a relationship for me there. So let me see if the relationship, I have to check if the relationship is well created. So I click on this new plus sign to go to add a new page, to add a new layout of it, to create my own personal model. Power BI has automatically created one for me, but to show you how it is being created, so then let me move to my layout to demonstrate how those data are being connected together. So I'll be clicking on calendar to add it here, clicking on other. I'm actually dragging this table to this layout to create my own personal relationship by myself and to create a relationship between them. So you just click on it, then drag it to the side. So Power BI is actually trying to create a relationship again here. So I'm zooming, making it small. So these are the data I just imported now. So I want to show you how this relationship are being created. So what do we refer as relationship? Relationship is being created with this line, with those lines you are seeing there. Those lines you are seeing being connected together. Those lines you are seeing connected together. Those lines you are seeing connected together is telling us that okay, this sales amount has been connected to this. If you click on this play button, you'll be seeing what is connecting it. There's the product key here and the product key you have here. We also have the customer key. It's actually connecting these tables together. The customer key here is actually connecting it to the sales customer key. So here we have presented with every details with this customer, every details with the territory. If you click on this play sign, you'll be seeing it. So and you are seeing one and star. This is telling us that it has one to many relationship. We have many of these data, these customers in this place, and we have every unique customer in this place, So one of those data are represented in this place. So this is what we refer as the lookup table. This is the lookup table. This is the lookup table. This is the lookup table. Why this one, where you have the transaction of the business, is referred as the data table or the fact table. So I think it actually remain one, which is the calendar, which have not been added. So let me add it here. So the calendar. So as I was adding this data, Power BI was actually creating this relationship, which is this line. But when I added this one, did not create this relationship. So since Power BI did not create relationship for me in this calendar to this sales, there is a need to create a relationship. So I'll be able to plot them together, what we refer as slice and dice. So I'll be clicking on this date here, clicking on this, right click, drag it. Can you see? Right click, drag it and place it on this other date in my sales amount. That's how to create a relationship between them. Then I'm having a line joining them together. Let's see it. So I have got a line, so telling us that this calendar is now linked to my sales table. So since I have done that, then I can go ahead to plot. Then my plot will be well plotted because there is already a relationship between those tables. So I can just come here to show, okay, particular table, which is the products. Let me click on products, and let me click on products. Let's wait a little bit. My Power BI is loading due to the relationship I created. So click on this product. Calculate a plot again. Click on products. So let me plot some categories. I'm in the products table. I click on category. Power BI automatically pick a chart for me. Let's wait a little bit. So Power BI automatically pick a bar chart for me. So then I want to see products, which is the category, by the sales amount. You can see I am moving from different tables, product and sales. So because I have created a relationship between them, I am able to plot against two tables, and it's going to work perfectly well for me. So Power BI automatically pick a table for me. So I might choose to just say, okay, let me change it to a bar chart. You can see, because of the modeling that I have done, I was able to pick different things from one table and another table. That's what we refer as what slice and dice. So in this video, this is where we'll be stopping for this lecture, and I hope to see you in the next coming ones. So I'll be sending this video alongside with my email and my number, so you can always email and text me for your questions. I'll be really glad to answer your question. Thank you for joining me.